Greetings! Today, straight to the point, I will want to do some tinkering, and what I've got over here is a pair of Bluetooth headphones from eBay. And this is the cheapest of the kind that you can get. Quality is horrible on this. A few things wrong with this. First of all, the quality of sound is horrible, but I think that's mainly due to those earphones, this is just junk. And the second big issue is the battery life. The battery life on this is absolutely horrible. It's a tiny battery and it lasts only best a few hours at best. What I want to do is use this because I think the receiver itself is okay. It will do the job. I want to fix the issue of the headphones and fix the issue of the battery life. And here is the module itself close up. So it looks like it's glued, but it's not. I've already had a peek inside, so with a little bit of prying. And here we've got the board. Just focus, there we go. So we've got the Bluetooth chip, FR3019 it seems. Well, soldering is not so pretty on this. There's a LED, microphone, here's the Bluetooth antenna, and on the other side of the board, LN and LP connections soldered to the headphone, so that should be left negative, left positive. On this side, we've got right positive, right negative, and it's been bodged on with some caps over here. I wonder why is it not on this side at all. We've got BG25Q40 and and the battery connector and the USB connector. Now the battery is this 60 milliamp hours. 60! So yeah, that's barely allows it to switch on, and very shortly it dies. Assuming that this is not very energy efficient, it's not lasting a very long time on this battery. I think what I'm going to do is take this board out, hook it up to a larger battery pack, cut off the headphones and equip this with a 3.5mm jack so I can plug in any pair of headphones onto this. For the battery, I remembered I had this tiny little power bank that has got inside, if I pop this cover open, it's got two Nokia batteries in there, 860 milliamps versus 60. I'm not sure of the condition of those batteries, I'll have to double check. If not, we can always put something else. Okay, quite some time later and one visit in hospital later, hence you see the stuff on my hand. I've done some experiments and I've decided not to use this. After all, those batteries are shot, so they're not holding charge very well. Fully charged it again and over 24 hours it dropped down to one dot on the indicator, so that goes away. Instead, what I found in my junk parts, those little batteries, and those came from those disposable e-cig batteries from Poundland, so these were £1 each. I'm noticing these hold charge very well. They are 280 milliamp hours. This will be a number of times bigger and will last a good few days. I'm fine with that. Out of curiosity, since I've got it already open, I wanted to measure up what sort of current is this drawing, so let's have a look. Since I've got it open, I wanted to measure how much current is this drawing. Let's connect it up and see. I've got it on the 2 milliamps range right now, just to see where that will get us. Okay, we've got about 13-14 microamps. So let's go up to the microamp range. There we go, 13.8 microamps. Okay, let's switch it on. So I'm going to press and hold the middle button. There we go. So now it's drawing about 7.6 milliamps and it's connecting to a device. I think it's connected to my phone. Let's have a look. 1 milliamp. That is connected. So let's try to get it into pairing mode. So I'll switch it off. There we go. Now it's in pairing mode. So in pairing mode we're looking at 10 milliamps or so. I'm gonna try to play some music through it and see what that looks like in terms of current draw. Right, here it is playing some copyright-free music and from YouTube, and it's drawing 15-16 milliamps in that mode, jumping up to 18-19 where a more low-end frequencies start appearing. If I just switch over maybe through different parts of the song. Yeah, it will jump up. It's just under 20 milliamps. The audio amp is what produces, drawing the most current over here. So we've got maximum current draw of 20 milliamps. That's slightly rounded up to the higher figure, so this is the worst possible case scenario. And we've got two 280 milliamp hours batteries, so we've got in total 560 milliamp hours of capacity, with 20 milliamp hour draw. We have 28 hours of constant music playback. Now this is the worst possible case scenario, so 28 hours will be the absolute worst if you were playing music really loud all the time, constantly. And yeah, other than that, it will probably last about 2 or 3 days in reality, maybe a little bit longer actually, because no one listens to music 24 hours a day, but maybe for 6, 7, 8 hours you'd have your headphones switched on in case someone calls, and so on and so forth. So I'm thinking 3 to 4 days probably I'll get out of those batteries, so that's good enough. To make a case, I will be using, as you might have guessed, wood, my most favorite material to work with. I've got some strip wood pieces, 12mm by I think 4mm thick, being cautious over here of the batteries because they are charged, so I don't want to cause a fire before I finish this. But I'm thinking of doing something along those lines. So then headphone jack over here, this here like so, and then this module here, and then top and bottom. I don't want this to become very thick, so I'm just going to use a lot of coffee steering sticks that I'm going to glue together like this to form a flat wooden plate across the both sides. After a couple of tries, I've managed to get the hole for the headphones out, and yeah, this just was too thick, and the headphone jack would have been recessed too far in, and I wanted to keep it nice and flush, so I've cut a section off over here on the thread saw and drilled a hole that pretty much mates with the headphone jack, and I've countersunk this. So now I can glue the outer frame together. Before I glue it, I just need to make sure that all the edges are nice, straight and square, so I'm just gonna sand them on my sander. And using wood glue I should be able to stick those together quite easily. And wood glue doesn't take too long to dry out actually. It only needs a couple of minutes and it begins to be quite solid. But before I do, I almost forgot. Just so I don't make a mess on my mat, I'm gonna use this piece of glass, which is quite handy to keep everything straight, and at the same time the wood glue doesn't stick to it. You can always scrape it off afterwards, so that's quite handy. Now I've got everything together, I need some sort of way to hold it somewhat compressed, and what I have been using in the past is just rubber bands. If I put on a few rubber bands, it just gives enough pressure to keep the entire contraption compressed. Now I can make final adjustments, because the glue is still wet, to make sure everything is nice and straight. So now I can put it in a vise like this and wait for the glue to cure. While I wait for the frame to cure, for the glue to dry up, I need to make the side panels, and as I said, I will be making them out of steering sticks. So I need some easy way to evenly join them up together like so, using glue. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use 4 pieces of scrap aluminium angle that I've had lying around, and some rubber bands. First I'm going to join up the aluminium pieces like this, so I can slide a few of those inside, like this. Then put the other side on. And put the rubber bands on the other side to keep everything straight. And now I'm going to look for uneven sticks. Most of them will be perfectly fine, but I can see this one here is a little bit off. As you can see, it's sticking out a little bit, so I'm going to change this one, maybe add a couple more. I just need to make sure that I'll end up with a sheet that is large enough to cover both sides, that's all. I think that will be plenty. Now what I have to do, I've got them all straight, so now I have to slide them one by one, apply some glue and slide the next one on. So now I have them spaced out, I just have to apply the glue to all the edges. That will take a while. So I want to add another clamp in the middle, and that should help keep it all straight, and then add a lot of bands across so it compresses it that way. And this prepared this way, this should be sitting to cure. If there's any unevenness left in this, I should be able to just sand it out at the end. After it cured, we've got two pieces like this. So we've got the frame and this sheet, which is somewhat strong actually. It's strong enough, especially it will be only a small piece, glued on like so-ish. Probably. I should have done it before but forgot, so I need to drill two holes over here for the cable to disappear inside. So I'm just going to drill about 3mm, 3.5mm. Now that's done, I'm going to take this and trace out, find a nice spot, keeping in mind that I need two nice spots. There are some imperfections in this. Yeah, right about here is fine. Off to the thread saw. In the meantime, I thought, how am I going to wear this? And I thought the best thing would be to have it dangling around your neck, around my neck, on a lanyard or something, along with the headphones. So I've put two little holes right next to the headphone jack, and then towards the end I'm just going to thread a copper wire, make a little loop that I can attach to a little clip on the lanyard, and that should do it in terms of having it affixed. I've cut the bottom piece purposely just a tad bigger. I've got maybe 1/2 mil on each side. I'm going to sand this down after it's glued in place to make sure it's perfectly flush. Okay, I've got two pieces of stiff plastic, so that will do. Here it is, and now I just have to sand the edges down so it's nice and flush. Here it is, nicely sanded flush. It's not final sand, I'll do one more once it's all together, but now I need to cut off the other side and get this cut out. I'll have one side this way and across and one lengthwise. Fancy. I've also noticed I've got a little gap over here. This must have been a splinter that just split from one of the strips, so I'm going to fix that really quickly and easily. I've got a little bit of sawdust from the grinder. Add a little bit of glue to it and work it into a paste, and then apply it to the crack. This, when solid, should be harder than the wood itself. So I think I'm gonna start assembling this now and do the final sanding once it's fully shut, because I'm gonna glue it permanently, because I don't predict I'm gonna have to get into it ever again. I've also drilled a little hole over here and in the case of the Bluetooth receiver, so it fits in here. That's for the battery wires, so I can thread those through and then connect them in here to the batteries. I need to cut off those horrible headphone cables. This should go through like this, and I've drilled the hole in the wrong spot. Now I've got the hole in the right place, I should be able to thread the cables through. The extra hole doesn't really matter, I guess. That sits in as it should. Okay, having stripped the wires from the ends over here, I'm gonna try to solder to it. Now those cables are horrible to solder onto, because the enamel coated wire is, yeah, it's not ideal. I'm gonna see if the soldering iron is hot enough to destroy the enamel coating. Okay, I think it's taking. So I've put the green ones together because they were marked as negative. One of the headphones had capacitors on the output, like it was trying to isolate some DC, but the other one hasn't. So I'm not sure whether that was just an afterthought on one of the sides. So now the jack. A lot of pins on this jack, a lot of them are switches, but I'll be using only 3. So this is the ground, this one will be right channel, and this one will be left channel. Okay, let's connect a pair of headphones to this and connect a battery temporarily. Okay, the test was successful. The left and right channels work separately and fine. The only thing is, it's something to do with this jack, I'm not sure, but those 2 pins over here, without them being shorted, the sound was really quiet. This is some weird jack with, as you can see, it's got more pins that you can poke a stick at, but Yeah, after shorting those two, the sound started working properly, so I'm just gonna leave it at this. I've pushed the wire, the copper wire, through the holes, and I've bent and soldered the two legs, or two ends on the other side, so it's kind of stronger. I'm just gonna add a little bit of hot glue on top of it. And now I've put the batteries in place as well and held those as well with an ample amount of hot glue. And now I need to connect the wires and do a final test and seal the unit. Connect it together and then put some heat shrink over it. Lithium batteries are no joke, even if they're small ones. You don't want this to burst in flames. Okay, let's test it. Perfect. So I have to seal the entire box now. Here it is, almost done. So the last bit would be, after all the sanding, I'll show you up close. It's all nice and smooth, and the sticks on the side give it a nice pattern actually. And the last step is to condition the wood, and I'm gonna use this. This is I don't know what it is. It's like beeswax and some other stuff, but it makes the wood look really nice, and it makes it a little bit tougher. So just rub it on. And there it is, finished. That balsam gave it a little bit darker look. You can see more grains and individual plates. I think it turned out really nice. So it's light, it's got a big capacity, individual headphone jack, so I can use any pair of headphones, and a little loop so I can hang it on a lanyard on my neck. And there we go. I hope you enjoyed watching this little hack build video, and I certainly did enjoy making this. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe for more random electronics related stuff, but for this one that's it. So for the time being, take care.